Hello and welcome once again to the video. In this one I shall be taking my usual look at the most recent Formula One Grand Prix race. Well, just Grand Prix, don't need to say race, do we? The latest Formula One Grand Prix from the 2026 Formula One World Championship. My usual routine. There's a bit of ink there. I don't know what that's doing there. A bit of ink. Anyway, my usual routine is to list down the 22 cars in their finishing order, and if they didn't finish as well. The top 10 in the Drivers' Championship, and the rundown of the 11 teams in the Constructors' Championship. And then I just have a little few words to say about what I think of the race and the championship so far. So let's dive in, shall we? So this was round 10. Pen looks like it's on its way out. In Belgium. Okay, so I'm going to put down who was on pole actually, because sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. So pole was Antonelli. Okay, so let's do the 22 finishing order first. Antonelli, and I need to make sure that is well and truly in focus. Second was Leclerc, then Verstappen, and Hamilton, and then we had Piastri, Hadjar, Norris. Still in focus, isn't it? Because sometimes it's a bit naughty and it jumps out of focus. So 8th was Bortoleto, Lindblad, Colapinto, and then Gasly, Lawson, Hulkenberg, Bearman, and we've got Albon, Sainz, Albon, Sainz, Ocon. Then we have Bottas, Alonso, Stroll, Perez, and Russell at the back now. Okay, so rundown of the championship. He has 204 points. Yeah, Antonelli second. Back up to second. 159 is Hamilton. Russell 154. Okay, 126, isn't it? Yeah, 126. Is this Norris on 103? With 6th place being Piastri 92. Verstappen 91, Hadjar 60. Gasly 42. Still best of the rest. Lawson 39. With all my predictions, that's the one that is staying steady. I predicted Gasly would be best of the rest in 8th, outside the top 4 teams, and he still is. Keep it going, Gasly. Right, so we have Mercedes 358. Ferrari 285. Not very far behind. McLaren 195. Red Bull on 151. And then we have, look at this, we've got Alpine on 61. And Racing Bull on 61. As well, basically. Then we've got Haas, who I think are no different performance-wise to when Günther Steiner was in control. Williams 11, Audi 10. Aston Martin 1. Oh, sorry. That's because I was thinking Cadillac still looking for their first point, is what I was thinking as I wrote it down. That's why I put 1. I gave them their first point. Okay. Okay, so let's put down the fastest lap. It's Norris. And his fresh tyres towards the end. Antonelli 6 wins now. Interestingly, puts him level with Riccardo Patrese, which I knew Patrese had won 6 races, and I think Alboreto won 5 races, didn't he? But Alberto Ascari is out front with, I think, 13 race wins. But Antonelli is now joint second for the most Grand Prix wins by an Italian. Not many, is it? You think of all the Italian drivers when I was growing up. Well, throughout the 80s, basically, it was half the field were Italian, and the other half were either French or Brazilian. Or you'd have a token British driver in there. Right, so Hamilton is on 1 win. Russell's on 2. Leclerc's on 1. So Mercedes have got 8 wins. Ferrari have got 2. Okay, so what did we think of that race? Well, let's just mention those few incidents first, should we? Hamilton against Russell. At the beginning. Yes, Russell gave Hamilton room, as was pretty much said in the commentary. It's clear he did give Hamilton room, but I'm still surprised Hamilton got a penalty. A 5-second penalty. Okay, it wasn't any greater than that, but I'm very surprised that he got a penalty, because normally at the start of the race, this was on, they'd already gone through Eau Rouge, I think, hadn't they? So, okay, it's not right at the start, but it's not many corners into the race, is it? they go around that sharp first corner, and then they go through Eau Rouge and then up to the top of the hill. Is that Rascasse, or is it the end of the straight? No, hang on a minute, Rascasse is Monaco, isn't it? I forget I said that. I can't remember if it's Monaco or Spa. As I always say, I'm terrible with the names of these corners. Anyway, at the top of the hill, after Eau Rouge, I think on that straight bit, we'll call it the straight bit, that's, I think, where this happened. Surely that's still quite close to the start of the race, isn't it? So I'm surprised it wasn't a racing incident, especially as your air is being buffeted by all the cars that are in front of you, bunched up in front of you. And there was still a number of cars creating airflow issues for Hamilton. So I thought it was a bit harsh that he got a penalty. When you actually see the car jink and he tries to quickly correct it with the steering wheel and can't, and he's trying to turn into the corner, but he can't. Not Russell's fault, but not Hamilton's fault either. And Russell himself said during the race that he thought it was a racing incident. Russell was actually more focused on criticising whatever is happening with his car at the moment. He's not necessarily criticising the car. He just wants to know whether it's him or the car that's making him struggle at the moment for power. So he was more keen to focus on the car's woes and saying he shouldn't have even been in that position to begin with. But the loss of power along that straight put him in that position with the Ferrari of Hamilton. Even Russell didn't think it was Hamilton's fault. Very strange that Hamilton got a penalty. And then later, Leclerc versus Piastri. And this wasn't spoken about. I didn't see it spoken about after the race anyway. But Leclerc drifted into Piastri on the outside along the same stretch, I think, wasn't it? And they had contact, no penalty, no further action. Maybe because neither car retired, but the Piastri's car was damaged. Bits flew off Piastri's car because of it. That was, to me, that looked clearly like Leclerc had closed the gap, had just moved across on Piastri. Piastri was alongside. Okay, you could say that Piastri was not in far enough alongside officially to be, given the corner, but he was still alongside, halfway up Leclerc, I think. So why would you move across on him like that? That's not the right thing to do, is it? It's not there. That's a bit dangerous. But no penalty there. Maybe because nothing actually happened to Piastri. I'll talk about Russell in a minute again and his woes, but I just thought I'd mention those two, because there wasn't a lot that actually happened in the race really. There were the incident between Hamilton and Russell and Leclerc and Piastri. Obviously the Hamilton-Russell one was far bigger. There was, of course, the virtual safety car, and the Ferraris. There was a few virtual safety cars for minor things, but on one of them the Ferraris were able to come in and have a cheap pit stop. However, Hamilton had his 5-second penalty to serve, plus I don't remember seeing it at the time, but I assume he had to hang around a little bit behind Leclerc. He probably lost a few seconds waiting behind Leclerc. And then, of course, there was the problem in the pit with the pit stop itself, where communication problems meant that one of the mechanics was trying to adjust the front wing as Hamilton was released. Something that the team Ferrari got fined for after the race. No penalty for Hamilton on that occasion, which is nice. I mean, often the driver is punished for a mistake by the team. So in a way, I was surprised he didn't get a penalty, but glad that Hamilton didn't get a penalty, even though it was nothing to do with him. I think it was recognised that he did stop. He didn't just drive off, knocking the mechanic out of the way. He did stop, and it lost him a few seconds. So that's sort of penalty enough, really. Yeah, that's nasty when that happens because it's so, a Formula One car driving really slowly is still extremely dangerous, those big heavy wheels. And just pulling away from the pit like that could do some serious damage. So he was very lucky, that mechanic. But that meant after that, of course, Hamilton was driving with a slower car due to his front wing not having been adjusted after going up from mediums to hards. That hampered Hamilton for the rest of the race, but he still came home a respectable fourth. I think that's a good performance, given the fact that his car was a bit damaged after his clash with Russell, and then also the front wing adjustment not happening in the pit. So I think fourth is an okay performance in the end for Hamilton. But he is behind Leclerc again, and that Hamilton won't like that. He would have liked to have blasted clear of Leclerc like he seemed to be doing. But I did say Leclerc's just had a few off races. That doesn't mean he's gone. Doesn't mean all backing should be behind Hamilton. I said that before Silverstone. And yeah, since then, a win and a second place for Leclerc. So I predicted Leclerc would be third, and he was second. I did predict Antonelli would win, so I got one prediction correct. I had Hamilton in third, so I wasn't far off there. No, I didn't. I had Russell in second. Antonelli, Russell, Hamilton. So, Leclerc. My prediction, and this is final now, final answer. Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc. Okay, so I got one. So what was I on? I was on 5, 6, 7. I think I'm now 8. I think I've shot up to 8 out of 30 podium spots in my predictions. Wow, look at me go. 8 out of 30. That's 2 races running where I've got something right on the prediction. Amazing. So going back to, I feel the main talking. Oh, actually, I'm just going to mention that fine as well. I think it's ridiculous, these fines. Where does the money go? It's such a small amount of money and yet a large amount of money. It's a small amount of money for the FIA to fine a team 30,000 euros. 30,000, right? With 10,000 euros suspended or deferred or whatever till next year. Why? Are Ferrari short of cash? Can't they pay 30,000 euros? They asked for 30,000 euros, and Ferrari said, I can give you 22,347 euros and 89 cents. And they said, oh, look, for goodness sake, just give us 20,000. You can pay us back 10,000 next year. Because that just seems ridiculous. Ferrari could get a fine for 100 million. They'll just go, all right, okay, do you want cash or check? So I don't get it. And also, what do the fines really do? They don't punish the team. 30,000 euros is not going to punish Ferrari, is it? For their unsafe release with Hamilton's front wing adjustment thing and the mechanic and everything. That was what the fine was for. But I don't get it. These fines are always so small, and yet if they're going into the pocket of someone in the FIA, they're quite large. Even if that person in the FIA gets paid loads of money, it's still nice to be handed 30,000 euros. So or 20,000 with 10,000 next year. So I just don't get why these fines really exist, because all they do is they just beef up the petty cash of the individuals working for the FIA. It's not going to damage Ferrari, the 30,000, and it's not going to make any difference to the profitability of the FIA either, the 30,000. So what's it for, unless it's just to cover the cost of donuts for the stewards over the next 2 or 3 years? I don't get it. Such a piffling small amount, but also a large amount if just shared out to the FIA staff or whatever. So, yeah, I don't get those fines. It's ridiculous. And then only paying 20,000 now and 10,000 next year. Why? Why is that? Unless that report I read was wrong. That was online. I read that. 30,000 with 10,000 deferred till next year. Why? I don't get that. I don't understand it. Yeah, so back to George Russell. He's the main talking point. I mean, Antonelli, fantastic, came back. That VSC benefited Leclerc. Leclerc got the lead because of the VSC pit stop. Antonelli having already stopped, but Antonelli just got the lead back again because he's just quicker than everyone. And he gets quicker and quicker throughout the race, as I said before. At the start of the race, Russell and Antonelli are the same speed. Throughout the weekend, they're roughly the same speed. But as the race progresses, Antonelli, despite his youth and his, or maybe because of his youth, he gets faster and faster, despite lack of experience. It gets faster and faster and faster throughout the race, which is really, I'd expect it to be the other way around. I expected him to be super quick on one lap qualifying, but over a race, he would sort of sag a little bit, and more experienced drivers would come through. But no, Antonelli gets faster and faster as the race goes on. I don't see how he can be beaten. The only way that he can be beaten is through retirements. And that's already happened in both Spain and Silverstone. And still he's got a big lead in the championship. Of course, Russell's retirements are not helping. 3 races now, Russell has failed to score through no fault of his own. And Antonelli's had 2 where he's failed to score through no fault of his own. So relatively equal, relatively. But yeah, fantastic performance. Verstappen, driving what he would describe as an absolute dog, coming home in 3rd place. Good performance. Hadjar, very good performance by Hadjar. He came into the pits, didn't he, on lap 1 and changed from hards to mediums. And he had about 15 pit stops, didn't he? And he came home in 6th place, only about 12 seconds behind Verstappen. So, an amazing performance by Hadjar, I think. Very good. Norris came through well as well. Came through the field well. Bortoleto, Lindblad, Colapinto, they all deserve a mention. All beating their teammates. Alonso, dearie me, my hat goes off to Alonso. I don't feel sorry for him because he's a double world champion and winner of 32 Grand Prix. So I don't want to, I'm never going to feel sorry for Alonso, I can assure you. But I think it's, quite something now that it feels like decades he's been trudging along at the back of the field, desperately trying to win a race. Of course, in 2023, was it? He did have a very good year then. Lots of podiums, 2nds and 3rds, but no win. But yeah, terrible for Alonso. He's just trailing around at the back all the time. I don't even know if he finished this one. I haven't even bothered to check if the Aston Martin's finished. Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. They need to get Adrian Newey away from the press. Need to get him away from his team principal role, however supposedly temporary it is. Get him away from that. Get him out the back with his, his lectern or whatever it's called. A big piece of paper, pencil. What are those things called? I forget what they're called now. Protractors. Yeah, his protractor set and his pencil set, his rubbers, and leave him alone. Don't have him doing team principal, for goodness sake, even if he wants to. So back to Russell. Russell has been making a lot of noise in frustration about what's going on. Very similar to Norris last year, really. Last year, Norris was desperately trying to figure out what was going wrong. He won the first race and then it all went bad. Here, Russell won the first race and then it all went bad. And he's trying to figure out why he's slower. It seems like the team are reluctant to say to Russell, you're slower because Antonelli is faster. But that's not the answer Russell's looking for, I don't think. But I've said it before on videos, and I don't understand why it's always assumed that the drivers will all drive at exactly the same speed. And if they're different to one another by 0.2 of a second, there's got to be some reason for it. No, it's just that one person's driving better than the other. And I think that's simply the case here. I think Antonelli is driving with these cars this year better than Russell. Doesn't mean he's a better driver, because it's often to do with the car. I remember 2014, was it, when Ricciardo joined Red Bull? He was comfortably beating Vettel, who had just won the previous 4 World Championships. And that year, 2014, was it Ricciardo? Didn't he win 3 Grand Prix and Vettel didn't win any? Something like that. And that was just because Ricciardo was coping with those new cars. The new hybrid, the big change in 2014 to those new hybrid cars, engines. And Ricciardo was coping better with that than Vettel, because Vettel had a lot more experience of not racing those type of cars. So, that can happen. And that's what's happening this year. It doesn't mean that Antonelli is necessarily faster, a better driver than Russell. It's just this year, on this year's cars, that the suggestion is that Antonelli and Hamilton both prefer cars that are more sort of on their nose, and they're loose at the back, whereas other drivers prefer them to be a bit more secure and on the rails. And Russell is probably one of those. I think Piastri is one of those, maybe Verstappen. But Hamilton and Antonelli like their car to be a bit squirrely at the back. And it's like these cars are just favouring Hamilton, and in particular Antonelli. So I think someone just needs to say to Russell, look, I'm afraid on these cars you are simply slower than Antonelli with your power management and all that sort of thing. Instead, Russell's got Mercedes tearing up the car every night, hunting for a gremlin, hunting for something. But unfortunately, it's Russell that's the gremlin. So, but you see, next year he may well be faster than Antonelli, but I can't see anyone beating Antonelli in the championship. So I think, Russell's gone. And the championship lead going from it having been chiselled down to 25 points, not due to Russell beating Antonelli, of course, but due to Antonelli's retirements. But the lead had gone down from 50 points to 25 points. And then it gone from like 65 points, I think, down to 25 points. And now it's gone back up to 50 again. And that is so reminiscent of the Belgian Grand Prix in 1991, right? Mansell, chip. He won the French Grand Prix. He won in his Williams. He won the French Grand Prix. He won British Grand Prix. He won the German Grand Prix, trying to chisel down Senna's lead in the McLaren. Senna having won the first 4 races of the season, and Mansell having retired from 3 of the first 4 races of the season. But then his Williams was starting to come good reliability-wise, and he won France, won Britain, won Germany, 3 on the trot. In Hungary, he was second to Senna. But nevertheless, the championship lead had come down from about 35 points. Back then, you got only 10 points for a win, so 35 was a big gap. 35 points, something like that, between Senna and Mansell. In fact, it was 34 points after 4 races. Senna had 40 points, maximum 40. Mansell had 6, so it was from a second place in Monaco. So it was 34-point difference after Monaco. That got chipped down and down and down. After Germany, it was only 8 points. It went up to 12 points after Hungary because Senna won and Mansell was second. But then we went into the Belgian Grand Prix, and Mansell was on pole and he was leading, and Senna was in second place, so it was going to knock it back down to 8 points again. And then suddenly Mansell's car just stopped. Very reminiscent of sort of Russell in Canada. It just stopped working. And that was it. Senna went on to win. Suddenly, that 12 points is now 22 points. And all that hard work, chipping away at the lead, winning race after race, just gets wiped out with one retirement. And it's so demoralising. I can see why Russell is particularly distressed. But he should have it in his mind that he was lucky that the lead had come down to 25 points. Mansell in 1991 had been winning races legitimately. Whereas here, Russell, the points that he's gained on Antonelli is only because of Antonelli's bad luck. So, apart from Austria, I suppose, Russell won in Austria. Where was Antonelli in Austria? I can't remember. Anyway. Russell has to bear that in mind. It came down to 25 points because of bad luck, although Russell had bad luck, of course, earlier in the season. But it's devastating for it to go back up from 25 to 50. You've made all that work, and then one little slip and it goes again. And it so reminded me of 1991. And Mansell was never able to get back that lead, and I think he lost the championship in the end by 16 points, I think, at the end. Mansell lost out to Senna, I think, by about 16 or 20 points, something like that. And it reminded me so much. And it was the same circuit, Belgium again, Spa. So, very, very reminiscent. So, I don't see how Russell can do it, though, because without something happening to Antonelli, Antonelli wins. I mean, Spain, I think Hamilton would have won in Spain, even without the VSC. Had Antonelli not retired, I think Hamilton would have still won in Spain, but it would have been tight. But I think he had the speed. But obviously Antonelli would have won in Silverstone. I think that's pretty clear that he would have won in Silverstone. But anyway, there you go. So I just wanted to point out that was very, very reminiscent of Belgium 1991. And Antonelli just romps away and doubles the lead like Senna virtually did in 1991. And it's back to 50 points again, with Hamilton just in front of Russell. And that hurts as well, to have another driver, as I've said before, you've got a dominant Mercedes, and yet Russell isn't even in second place, despite the dominance of Mercedes. He's not even in second. Right, so thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or like the video, or comment, or leave a tip on the thanks button below the video. And I will see you on the very next video, whatever it may be about. Goodbye, and thanks for now. Thanks and goodbye for now. Thanks. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.